your best choice. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
9년 전 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어 나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Coming up next is Inside Out Busan with Min-Soo Shin. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
Yo, and a happy Friday to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. You are tuned in to Inside Out Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. You know, recently, a lot of businesses, companies, organizations, they have begun to realize that's really needed to adopt a flat horizontal culture or horizontal corporate culture, as some of you might refer to it as 수평적 기업 문화라고 합니다. And this is in order to compete globally. This is not just to make everybody, feel comfortable, although that is one of the goals. It's also to compete with some of the biggest companies around the world. Hence, some companies are abolishing job titles to better heed the opinions of the younger generations. And there's a rising trend of companies adopting English names, even here in Korea. So, I don't know, should I make an English name for myself again? As here at Inside Out Busan, we are a very flat organizational culture. And that was Queen with You're My Best Friend. Because you are my best friend, listeners. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., everybody tuning in, whether it be on the radio or on our YouTube, you are my best friend. 우리 제일 친한 친구들. Welcome to our Friday show. I am your host, Min-Soo Shin. That's right, a lot of you. TGIF, right? Thank goodness. It's Friday. 한 주간 너무 수고하셨습니다. Everybody, right? Give yourselves round of applause, a pat on the back. You made it through another week, right? And it's even better because next week's a very short week because we have Chuseok coming up. But that's for later, right? So, folks, these days, a lot of companies, a lot of conglomerates have started encouraging their employees to start using their English names. 처음에는 they started like 누구누구씨, 뭐 누구누구님까지 이렇게 나왔는데 and then I've seen some companies call each other 뭐 파트너라고 이렇게 부르는 그런 문화도 있었어요. Everybody calling each other partners here in Korea, right? Now a lot of companies want, I guess, everybody to have their kind of unique English title, English name as their title. So even like company heads, they're actually taking the lead and picking up like English names for themselves when they really originally didn't have one. Or what they would do is they would eliminate job titles, right? 이렇게 부장님, 과장님, 뭐뭐님, right? As a job title, they started doing away with this because they want all their employees to, I guess, be more comfortable around one another. This is why they're calling it the flat organizational culture or horizontal corporate culture because everybody is on the same level. So companies like Kakateng, right? They have been a very active adopter of this kind of system. They encourage their employees to address colleagues by their English names. 안녕하세요. 데니얼 씨? 데니얼님? 끝에 씨하고 님은 붙일지 I don't think they put 님 or she at the end of it, right? But 안녕하세요, 데니얼 이렇게 해요. 안녕하세요, Annie. Good day to you, right? 좋은 하루입니다. They also encourage their employees, right, to do away with even titles that each of them have. Also, a food giant company that's behind like other food giant companies like 비비땡, right? They unified their job title to just 님, which is a high-level honorific used to show respect to someone in the Korean language. So I guess a mix of the old and the new. And some employees said that it feels easier to initiate conversations or even propose ideas to even their senior colleagues when calling each other by, let's say, English names, or maybe doing away with job titles. Some companies cite rapid global expansion even under this type of culture and make communication, especially with companies from abroad, I guess adopting this kind of horizontal culture, calling each other English names, and even for them adopting English names, it makes business with other English-speaking countries and companies that much easier. So here at BEFM and here on Inside Up Busan, we are a very flat organizational culture here. Horizontal corporate culture, Inside Up Busan. Those two go hand in hand. We're pretty comfortable here on Inside Up Busan team. At least us. We're pretty comfortable with one another. We don't find it like, what do I call our our writer? What do the writers call me? We're very friendly with one another. But to make things even more comfortable and even more friendlier, what do you think? Should I adopt an English name? Once again, as IOB is a very flat organizational culture. 저도 트렌드에 엄청 민감하잖아요. 그래서 I want to keep up with the, all the other companies taking on English titles and names for themselves. Now, I have been known as 대신동 Daniel here at BEFM before. That is a name that I do not want to remember. I'm just kidding. I wanted to do away with that persona, right? That's why I got rid of it and took on just my original Korean name, Min-Soo, instead. So I want to leave it up to you, listeners. Today, what would be an English name that maybe you could suggest that fits me, Min-Soo, right? DJ 민수에게 어울리는 영어 이름을 하나 지어주세요. I can't wait to hear your suggestions. I have heard a wide range of name types and name styles even, okay? So let us know, pound 9050 샵 9050 will cost you 100 won. You can let us know on our Kakao Talk or on our YouTubes. Just to let you know, since it is Friday, we have TGIF Live Studio coming up later on in our show. We actually have another special guest musician filling in for Gino while she's away. So you got to tune in then for that, all right? Up first, though, before all that, is today's News Bites. All right, we have BFM newscaster Annie with us here in the studio. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
Let me get you on screen there. There you go.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, my favorite day.
Yes, right? Oh, you're all cheers today.
I know. I'm all
Right?
happy.
I haven't seen you smell that large since last Friday.
I love work. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? Annie, so I'm going to ask you, if you had to suggest an English name other than Daniel, which is what I went by, I don't think I've used Daniel anywhere else besides here at BFM, right?
Well, I started working with you on School Reporters first, and I was introduced to you as Daniel.
맞아요.
And then I came onto Inside Out Busan. They're like, "Oh, that's Minsu," and I was like, "Wait, I thought he was Daniel."
Yeah, for like a good, couple months, there was like, "Oh yeah, I work with Daniel, but who's this guy Minsu?" And it's like, "Yeah, I work with Minsu, but who's this guy Daniel?"
Yeah, I was very confused.
Now we set the record straight. Yes, Daniel and Minsu are the same person. But other than Daniel, any other name that you think?
I'm a strong advocate for using. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Strong advocate for using your real name.
Korean name.
Because I kind of wish I stuck with my Korean. My Korean name is Hyunji.
Oh, yeah.
But I grew up in America, and no one could pronounce Hyunji. There's a lot of Hyunjis and Hyunjis.
Hyunji, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get Minsu wrong, even with my spelling. Minsoo or even Minsu.
It's the
I've gotten Minsa.
Okay.
A couple times,
Okay.
right? I think that's why I might have changed it to a double O at the end, so like only a oo sound might come out.
I was trying to think of another name for you, but Daniel worked. And then I was going to say Steve, but our 작가님 today is
Oh
Steve.
yeah, I would hate to be named Steve. No, I'm just kidding. Steve, oh there you go, Steve. There you go. I was trying to get your attention. That's why.
What about a Charles?
Charles, I don't know. Charles.
When you're feeling a little friendly, like Charlie.
Yeah, I guess, or even like very casual. Chuck.
Chuck.
Charles. I might have to think about that. I know a couple Charles. And
Oh, okay.
my
I don't know any.
my persona doesn't work with them. Anyways, keep thinking. All right. So let's get to today's news bites. What do you got for us?
So yesterday we talked about Lee Jae-myung's arrest motion getting passed. And so the arrest of Lee Jae-myung, the leader of the Democratic Party, who is suspected of preferential treatment for the Baekhyun-dong development project and also suspected of remittance, sending money to North Korea through Sangbangul Group. So his arrest will be decided as early as the 26th. That's this coming Tuesday. So the Seoul Central District Court designated Lee's interrogation date or warrant review date as the 26th at 10 a.m. And Judge Yu Chang-hun is said to be will be hearing the case. So if the warrant review process proceeds as scheduled, it is highly likely that Lee's arrest will be decided on Tuesday night or maybe early Wednesday.
Okay.
However, it's not certain whether he will be able to attend. As we all know, he has been hospitalized and is continuing his hunger strike. He's now on the 23rd consecutive day. If he is willing to attend, though, he may ask for postponement of the date because of his health condition. He would need to recover.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a possibility that the court may delay the interrogation after confirming the prosecution's opinion. And this is because, in principle, the suspect himself must attend the warrant review.
Okay, so the latest in terms of what's been going on with Lee Jae-myung. What has he himself said about yesterday's results then?
DP leader Lee Jae-myung made a statement today calling to defend democracy from what he called the prosecutor dictatorship. And then in a press release through his party's office, he said, quote, "The livelihoods of the people and democracy should be guarded by stopping the recklessness and the regression of dictatorial administration by the prosecution." Quite strong words
Yeah.
here. And the DP leadership has also emphasized that Lee will not step down from his position, despite, of course, the parliamentary voting result, which showed actually that some DP party leaders have voted against Lee, causing a bit of a shakeup within the party itself, but it was anonymous. Just looking from the numbers.
Yeah, okay. So the drama continues.
Yes.
Right? I feel like this is whenever, the name Lee Jae-myung gets brought up, a lot of eyes and a lot of people expecting things, to always change on a daily basis, because ever since I want to say the elections, it's
Right.
been a
It has
pretty
been
wild
nonstop.
ride for, especially, Lee Jae-myung. So we're going to have to continue to see what's going to happen with him. And I'm sure you'll be updating us next week as well.
course.
What's next?
Right, pediatric medical care. So the Ministry of Health and Welfare announced follow-up measures to improve the medical system for children today. Great news. The government came up with these measures to prevent the collapse of pediatric medical care. There were some very unfortunate cases where there weren't pediatric care available at night. So such measures include doubling the nightly pediatric examination fee, and then also adding a monthly 1 million won benefit to pediatricians because they are lacking. They will also expand children's public medical care centers and also children's emergency medical care centers, which are very scarce.
Yeah.
And this latest announcement is just a more detailed plan under the framework that was released back in February for, of course, improved measures. And about 300 billion won worth of funds, that's from state funds and also health insurance finances, will be invested into this first.
Yeah. So as somebody who goes to our pediatrician once a month,
Oh,
I feel
wow.
like not just for checkups, because with kids, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
They are actually some of the people that could keep the most composure, even in their situation with such a huge list of patients that they have to see every day. They put on a smile for each and every one of the kids that visit. So I'm
Right.
very thankful for for all the doctors out there. Now, has the ministry announced any other measures?
Right. In the medical field, but not so with the children. Starting next week, medical institutions that operate on unconscious patients, whether they're under anesthesia or some other reasons, they are obligated to install closed-circuit televisions or CCTVs inside the operating rooms.
Ooh, okay.
So if the patient or guardian requests, the surgery process must be filmed, and then that footage must be stored for at least 30 days. And the Ministry of Health and Welfare announced today that the revised medical law mandating all of these details will go into effect from Monday. And violation of these new revisions will then result in a fine of up to 5 million won, which will then be followed by orders to be corrected from the city officials. Filming can be rejected, though, in some cases. So that's like emergency surgery where they don't have time to set anything up. High-risk surgery that requires active treatment to save the patient's life. Also, concerns of hindering resident training. And another reason could be if filming is requested just right before the surgery.
Yes. So a lot of but ifs, right?
Right.
Whereas,
I just hope it's not abused.
Definitely. And this is something that's, the ministry has recently announced, but I'm sure it's going to take some time to kind of work into a lot of the procedures at hospitals. But that's the latest. All right, let's get to our last bit of news, international this time.
Right. This one's actually quite interesting. Maybe it would come here to Korea. I don't know. Xi'an Jiaotong University, that's in Shanxi province in China, apologies for the pronunciation, has removed English tests as a prerequisite for graduation. So students were previously required to pass a nationwide standardized English test to be able to receive their bachelor's degree. If they did not pass, they would not get the degree. But then on Wednesday local time, the university actually announced that they are scrapping this requirement entirely, which did cause quite a stir on social media.
You see, I don't know if something like this could come to Korea, being so invested, right?
I highly doubt it.
In the English language. What have been some of the responses to the change?
Right, so many actually praised the decision. If I was a student myself, maybe I would have as well. But yeah, many called for more universities to do the same. And many nationalists have called on the country to strengthen cultural confidence and also to fend off Western influence. I don't know if those are worrying words.
Yeah.
There has also been moves to downgrade English teaching overall in classrooms within the country. But then, of course, there's the other side. So others have said that this is symbolic of China's inward turn, kind of closing off and a tightening of ideological control, saying that English is still needed to understand the rest of the world and also for advancements in math or technology.
Okay. I mean, because you can't change the fact that English is one of the most used languages, when it comes to communication between various
Right.
countries. So it's going to be a while, I feel like, for this to spread.
Right. I understand getting rid of the test requirement, but I'm not sure about getting rid of English classes altogether.
Exactly, right? All right, well, thank you so much, Annie, and 수고했습니다.
감사합니다.
We'll see you on Monday.
수고하세요.
네, 감사합니다. We'll see you on Monday, okay?
Yeah, see you Monday.
낭비하지만 이 시간은 은행 서둘러서 정리해가는 위험해 받아주면 안돼 No you better just pay 답답해서 그래 저번에 덮었지만 없을 때겐 여기저기는 빛을 불빛내 아주 눈부시게 Honestly 우리 사이에 He's been totally lying yeah. 내 생일 파티에 너만 못한 그날까지 네가 엄청 혼났던 그날 지원이가 친이랑 여친 그날 그는 언제나 너가 없이 그날 너만 멋있는 옷을 입고 그날 Heard him say We can go wherever you like Baby say the words and man down All I need is you on my side We can go wherever you like I'll be you What's your ETA? 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 I'll be there right now. Lose a boy on her arm. 아파만 미 너가 걔못 잊을 때내 말 믿어. You deserve better than that. 내가 도와줄게. 걔는 그냥 playing. Boys be always flying. Yeah. 내 생일 파티에 너만 못한 그날까지 네가 엄청 혼났던 그날 지원이가 친이랑 여친 그날 그는 언제나 너가 없이 그날 너만 멋있는 옷을 입고 그날 Heard him say We can go wherever you like Baby say the words and man down All I need is you on my side We can go wherever you like I'll wear you What's your ETA? 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 I'll be there right now. Lose a boy on her arm.
New Jeans with ETA. Welcome back. First hour of Inside Up Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. I do hope your Friday is going lovely, and it's going to get lovelier because you're with me. 그만하겠습니다. 네. The time is now 6:30 here in the studio. I'm going to give you a quick update on the weather and traffic. Why is the weather so far away from me? Let me get that over there. It's all the way on the other side of the table. Weather. We are seeing 23 degrees on average here in Busan City. Tomorrow, I'm sure you're very curious of the weekend. Well, on Saturday, morning low of 19 and afternoon high of 26. I don't know about you. 슬슬 그 온도 숫자가 내려가고 있는 것 같습니다. That's good news for those that want to see fall come quickly. So this weekend, expect mostly cloudy and cooler weather. However, do be cautious as the temperature difference will be more than 10 degrees. So the hottest temperature and like the coldest temperature is going to be over 10 degrees. So careful not to catch a cold. 이번 주말에는 구름이 많고 선선한 날씨가 이어지겠습니다. 대신 일교차가 10도 이상으로 벌어지니 감기에 주의하시기 바랍니다. When it comes to our traffic, we have congestion on 자송로 from Bumil Junction going towards Munyeon Junction. Also congestion on Bonyonglo from Munyeon Gokagyo going towards Gwangan Tunnel. And then we have slow-moving traffic on Gayadero from Jure Junction going towards Naengjeong Station. Everybody, drive safe. 부탁드릴게요. I know you all want to get home as quickly as possible, but getting home safe is what's most important. 네, so I wanted to ask our listeners, as more and more companies are taking on the horizontal or flat organizational culture, they want to do away with the titles. Even here in Korea, they want to do away with the honorifics. 님 붙이는 거를 이제 덜 하려고 하는 것 같아요. A lot of companies these days. So that's why big companies like Kakateng or like companies behind, these huge like food companies, they have decided to adopt English names for all their employees. So I asked our listeners, what English name would you like to give me? Or what do you think fits me? 저한테 어울리는 영어 이름을 지어달라고 제가 부탁했거든요. We have a couple messages that came in already. We have a message that came in from 토끼님 saying M 민수님이니까 마르코 마르코가 들어왔습니다. 저는 마르코 suggestion 처음 들어봅니다. 토끼님. But you also said Marcus and also Mario. 근데 토끼님 네 번째 suggestion 저는 좋아요. Marvin. Marvin is considered like an old name, kind of. But 요즘에 이제 you know how it's like retro style everything? Marvin 좀 괜찮을 것 같은데. Can you see me? Can you see me as a Marvin, Steve?
Yeah, I'm down.
Really?
I'm down.
Like if I were to introduce myself, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Marvin.
Not bad. It's good actually.
Really?
It is really good. It fits. It fits.
Marvin.
Marvin.
토끼님, I'm gonna put this on my list
Marvin.
of those that might make it to like the final, right? Marvin. 좀 괜찮을 것 같긴 한데. We also have a message that came in from Toyoki Nakamura, right? I don't know if this person is listening in Japan or is here, but Toyoki Nakamura-님 says, use your beautiful given name instead of an English name. Okay? You can be proud of your beautiful Korean name. And Toyoki Nakamura-님 only uses an English name when they like order at like 별다방, like at cafes.
Yeah,
그때 이름 줘야 될 때,
그쵸.
이렇게, they always use like a nickname,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
근데 제 이름 민수잖아요. It's so boring though.
Why?
Because like 민수, you could find it in all Korean language textbooks. 민수와 철수, 민수와 미나.
Oh, yeah. It
Always.
is. But like, it's more friendly when I call you Minsu. Yeah.
So I do want to give off like a friendly kind of feel, like a vibe, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our Friday edition writer, Steve, by the way. Steve, hi.
Hello, guys.
So Steve, you're actually in the studio with me because you're going to help me out on today's IOB 5분 상식.
That's right.
Shall we? All right, listeners, time for today's IOB 5분 상식, getting you in the know, some of the most trending, useful, and need-to-know words and expressions. 5분만 들으면 유식해지는 시간입니다. 네, 오늘은 저희가요, 카셰어링 이용 시에 꼭 확인해야 할 것들이 무엇인지 알아보도록 하겠습니다. Hello, this is the car sharing service. I am Mr. Minsu. How was your company's car sharing service experience?
와, 대박. Thanks to car sharing. I had a fantastic time driving with my girlfriend thanks to car sharing.
Oh, we're so glad to hear that you're satisfied with our car sharing service. But sir, we've noticed a few issues with the car that you returned.
But I didn't do anything to the car. It was perfectly fine when I rented it with car sharing.
Excuse me, sir. Well, there seems to be some damage to the car's bumper. We may need to discuss compensation.
What? Compensation? What are you talking about? I didn't do that. We checked it before I rented the car.
And sir, it's not just that. Our wipers aren't moving, and the two tiny needle holes in there are two tiny holes in the tire. 빵꾸 났는데요, 두 군데.
No. Seriously? It wasn't even raining. And needle holes? That's not even possible.
I'm sorry, our policy is very clear, sir. No needle holes allowed in tires.
No way, this is ridiculous. I didn't do any of this.
Well, do you have evidence to back that up? This could get complicated. We might need to involve the police.
You see, I didn't take pictures before I left, and I should have. But when I picked up the car, everything was fine. I didn't need to use the wipers, and I definitely didn't damage the tire bumper. 어떡해?
Oh, Steve, I do want to apologize because I took your line. But then, 역시 우리 방송인 Steve, you picked it up very quickly and went with my line. 역시 우리 Steve. 자, 오늘의 5분 상식, car sharing 대해서 꼭 알아야 할 것들을 말할 건데요. So what is car sharing first?
It's a system where you reserve a vehicle, pick it up from a nearby parking location, and return it after use. Unlike traditional car rentals, car sharing allows you to rent cars by the hour and is often available in residential areas.
맞습니다. So a lot of people these days, they use car sharing services to rent cars whenever and wherever they need it. And it comes really handy during holidays like Chuseok. However, though, if you are going to partake in car sharing, there are things that you do need to look out for and be cautious about when using. What are those things?
About 1 out of 3 car sharing vehicles has been found to have inadequate safety maintenance. Some users fail to upload post-trip exterior inspection photos to the app, which can lead to disputes later on. Unlike traditional car rentals, car sharing requires users to inspect vehicles themselves.
네.
It's crucial to check thoroughly to avoid potential issues.
맞습니다. 꼭 확인해 주시고요. So with the upcoming Chuseok holiday next week, a lot of people might be considering using car sharing services. What should they definitely check when using it?
First, when renting a car, make sure to check if the tire pressures on both sides match on the dashboard. Also carefully inspect the interior and exterior conditions and ensure that features like wipers, headlights, and dash cams are functioning correctly. If you discover any damage or faulty parts, report them to the car sharing provider immediately. When returning the vehicle, it's essential to take pictures during pickup and drop off, which can serve as evidence in case of disputes.
맞습니다. Steve, we have 토끼님 chiming in on your 연기력, saying, 스티브 씨 너무 억울한 목소리예요.
정말 억울했어요.
네, 굿 연기력이랍니다. 뭐냐면 그 억울한 상황이 있잖아요.
정말이죠.
토끼님, 저는 매일 듣는 목소리입니다. 항상 억울한 것 같아요, 스티브는. 네. 감사합니다. 네, 오늘의 5분 상식 카셰어링 이용 시에 반드시 이거를 확인해야 됩니다. 타이어 공기압, 차량 외관과 내관, 부품 파손, 경고 등 점 등 여부를 미리 확인 후에 사진을 꼭꼭꼭 찍어두세요. 오늘의 5분 상식이었습니다. 김대리, 퇴근하나?
예, 부장님.
집이 교회종이지? 같은 방향인데 같이 가지? 요즘 회사 생활 어떤가?
예, 저 열심히 잘하고 있습니다.
결혼 생활도 재밌지?
예, 뭐 즐겁죠, 예. 저 그 라디오라도 좀.
그래, 라디오.
네가 적었어요, 심참인 것 같네.
22번 홀리면
진짜 회사 생활 쉽지 않다. 어색한 이 순간 인사이드 아웃 부산과 함께하세요. 오늘은
All right, listeners, it's Friday. That means it is time for TGIF Live Studio. So last week we had Gina, right, who's taking a vacation. So we have last week we had a special guest come in, fill in for her. So I guess we're doing kind of like a series thing here on Inside Out Busan, inviting various musicians to come and strut their stuff on the radio waves. Today we have invited not a stranger to BFM, has been on even Inside Out Busan a couple of times already, right?
Sure.
We have in the studio Mr. Gino Brann. Hello, Gino.
Hello, Minsu.
Hi.
Thanks for having me here.
Of course, our pleasure. Gino, do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners directly, please?
Oh, sure thing. My name is Gino Brann. I am a singer-songwriter based here in Busan, and it's great to sing for all of you today.
Yeah, Gino, I'm sure some of our listeners have tuned in already, know who you are, know your talents, right? But I'm very excited for people that will be hearing your voice and your guitar skills for the first time. So before we actually get into, a little bit of talk, I just want to, get right into your first song because I want to show everybody, I just can't wait to show you off to our listeners. What song do you want to first perform for our listeners right now?
So the name of the song is Champagne Problems, but I'm going to change the name of that song because I found out a week ago that Taylor Swift actually recorded a song that's also called Champagne Problems.
Ooh.
So I think I need to change the name of this
But who did it first?
I'm not sure. I didn't even know that she had written this song.
Well, I mean, if your song's good, for some of our listeners right now that might not have heard Taylor Swift's song, we'll go with yours, right? So, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You've been out of your mind, drowning in wine, trying to feel some way that you haven't before, but who can be sure this feeling is oh so strange. Deja vu, who's fooling who? Deja vu, did you feel it too? We've been out of our hands, the flags are all red, making the same mistakes. And it's been here before, a million times or more, the habits we just can't break. Me and you, who's fooling who? Deja vu, did you feel it too? Doesn't it feel like an aftershock? Shadows and echoes remain. Shadows and echoes remain. Never believe in an afterthought. The problems that come from champagne. The problems that come from champagne. I've been shutting my eyes every night, but still there's so much to see. Thought you might like to know about the fireworks show that's happening inside of me. Deja vu, who's fooling who? Deja vu, did you feel it too? Doesn't it feel like an aftershock? Shadows and echoes remain. Shadows and echoes remain. Never believe in an afterthought. The problems that come from champagne. The problems that come from champagne.
Let me turn the reverb off. Oh, that was nice.
Thank you very much.
Champagne Problems, was it?
Yes, but again, I'm probably going to change the name to something Champagne Promises, maybe?
Maybe. Well, champagne, not a lot of good promises. I feel like more problems arise from champagne than promises. But that's nice. Gino, if you could, before we get into the meaning of that song, if you could maybe, I guess first tell maybe our listeners, who would you like dedicate that kind of song to? Like maybe somebody going through this kind of thing in their life, or like who would maybe best benefit from listening to like a song like that?
Good question. I would say it's kind of a song about being in a situation, maybe a romantic situation, where you kind of find yourself going over the same problems over and over, and you're kind of trying to figure out a way to get out of that spin cycle somehow. So maybe relatable for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, people just going through just a whole mix of emotions right before the holidays. I'm sure there's a good amount of listeners that might be going through what you just mentioned, right? We already have a bunch of people chiming in and commenting on your skills and talents. We have 가보자고님 on our YouTube saying, not really saying anything, just a whole lot of thumbs up emoticons, right? Obviously very satisfied with what they're hearing. Haley님 saying, hi, Gino. Jinho. So Gino and Gino. Is Gino like a Korean name that you just go by Gino, right?
I go by Gino. It's my middle name. My mom's Korean and my dad's American. And so kind of like what you were talking about with your Korean name and trying to figure out what to do about that. I think my parents maybe kind of had in mind that it's both a Korean name and it's an English name or an Italian name. So it worked out for me because it could be Jinho or it could just be Gino.
Yeah, I feel like that's a name that could a lot of people even here in Korea can just kind of remember. I'm not saying it's bland or anything, but I feel like it's an easy name for everybody to kind of pick up, right?
And like my brother is named Jason, and I think they were kind of thinking the same thing. It could be Jason or it could be like Jason.
Oh,
something like that.
That works too, right? Yeah. Oh. Best of both worlds, kind of, with that situation.
So have you found any good nicknames yet?
Well, like I told our listeners, I heard of Marvin for some reason. It's Tokinim went with Minsu starts with an M. I'm just gonna start listing off names that start with M that I think of, right? Mario,
Maverick.
Marco, Maverick. I don't think I could pull off a Maverick. Right?
I think you could.
Top Gun was pretty popular here in Korea. If I started introducing myself as Maverick, they'd be like, "What is this guy?" Right? A couple more people saying hello to Gino. Mr. E saying hi. Oh no, Gina, who is actually our normal Friday guest, who does her song, says she's saying hi, Gino.
Hey, Gina.
To you, but Mr. E saying hi to Gina. Right? Mr. E, we have Gino here in the studio as well, right? So Gino, once again, local musician. These days, are you performing a lot?
Yeah, I'll be playing tomorrow night at a place near Busan Day with I play with a Latin band, and we do a few shows a year.
Oh, that's totally different from what you perform for our listeners. Is that what you do as a band, and this is more like solo kind of feel for you?
Yeah, this is more of my solo sort of thing, but I play in a few different bands around town. So yeah, tomorrow we're kind of celebrating Mexican Independence Day, which was about a week ago.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So, Gino, you know what? This is a segment, not just with you, but also with Gina in the studio that we had like a whole hour for. Okay. But unfortunately, we do have to, the main reason why people tune in, particularly this segment, is for the music. Okay. So without further ado, I do want to get to a second song that you prepared. So with the special series that we have here on Inside Out, I had prepared a song in the middle. But no, with you in the studio, kind of doing this special series with our listeners, you have another song lined up. You're going to treat our listeners with another song.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I could do another one.
Yeah. What song do you have ready for our listeners?
Well, I'm just going to tune my guitar.
Oh yeah. Take your time.
Quickly,
Take your time.
While I tune it, I'll explain that this song is called "Those Eyes."
Oh, already 느낌 난다.
And I wrote it when I was in Nepal. And if you ever go trekking in Nepal, you're going to see. There are these like Buddha eyes everywhere, painted on buildings and temples.
Okay.
And are just kind of like looking at you all the time. And it's kind of gives you this feeling of comfort, maybe, or this feeling of connection with that world.
Yeah.
So this song is about that.
Okay. Yeah. So with your experience in Nepal and just things that you've been seeing, right? With this song, the title sounds really nice too. I'm really looking forward to, of course, what the song is going to be about. So without further ado, Gino's second song. Those Eyes, was it?
Those Eyes.
Here we go.
Brought some goods up from Mustang to trade, Tibetan wool and a drum to play. Always following the middle way, and always followed by the Buddha's gaze. Circumstances led me back to the plains. I found Lumbini underwater with rain. But no God would let that city drown, with those eyes following me around. Those eyes follow me around, straight up to heaven from the lonely ground. They watch in silence as I float on down. Those eyes follow me around. 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 As I'm walking through the gates of love, wandering comfortably on this plateau, those eyes keep watching me wherever I go, from Kathmandu on down to Ohio. I'll listen to the trees, and with this mouth I'll finally learn to breathe. With this guitar I'll move the speed of sound, with those eyes following me around. Those eyes follow me around, straight up to heaven from the lonely ground. They watch in silence as I float on down. Those eyes follow me around. 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 Those eyes follow me around.
Oh, how do you do that? How do you do that? Oh, Gino, that was lovely.
Thank you very
That
much.
was lovely, sir. A lot of our listeners very much enjoying your performance. We have 토끼님 saying, "오, 고막이 녹는다." You're melting our listeners' ears. 저는 초면입니다. Singer-songwriter musician님 잘생김 묻었어요. You have a little bit of handsome on your face, 도끼님. Gino, I wish we had more time, but that's going to do it for today's TGIF Left. I have a feeling, this is not the last time that we're going to see of you, especially on like a corner like this. Gino, thank you so much for stopping by. Best of luck to you with your performance over the weekend.
Thank you very much, and have a happy Chuseok.
Thank you so much, Gino. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the first hour of Inside Out Busan. To take us out, this is John Mayer with New Light. I'll see you back here at 7.
I'm the boy in your other phone, lighting up inside your drawer at home, all alone, pushing 40 in the friend zone. We talk and then you walk away every day. Oh, you don't think twice about me, and maybe you're right to doubt me, but if you give me just one night, you're gonna see me in a new light. Yeah, if you give me just one night.
괜찮아 괜찮아 조금 불편해도 환경을 위해 너무 괜찮아. 일회용 대신 머그컵 비닐봉지 대신 에코백 물티슈 대신 손수건 우리의 실천 하나하나 모여 세상을 바꿔요. 깨끗한 세상 플라스틱 제로 일회용품 제로 함께해서 참 좋은 우리의 시민 불편한
이 캠페인은 부산환경공단이 함께합니다.
70 years ago, Busan was the provisional capital of a war-torn Korea. But thanks to the international community, we emerged into an economic powerhouse embracing technology and industries. And now we wish to return the favor. The world now faces critical transitions stemming from digital inequity, food insecurity, climate change, and the pandemic. Sharing our unique journey of overcoming post-war poverty, we will put our heads together and move towards progress. Busan is now the model city of the fourth industrial revolution and smart city infrastructure. Looking ahead to 2030, Busan is prepared to attract the World Expo.
부산은 준비됐습니다. 부산 나 상상. 부산 준비하라. 부산 준비됐지.
Busan is ready. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
꼬리에 꼬리를 무는 품격 있는 토크. 시끄러워 죄송합니다. Inside Out Busan.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is the second hour of Inside Out Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Right before, during our first hour, towards the end of the first hour, we had local musician and oh so talented gentleman, Mr. Gino Brann, our special guest for today's TGIF Live studio as Gina is away. We had a couple more messages come in that I didn't get to. Hopefully, Gino, on your way out, is listening. So we had 가보자고님 saying, Gino, Gina, how to choose a bias. And 결론은, you don't. Yeah, Mr. 가보자고님, basically, you respect and you recognize the talent that we have here at BFM on TGIF Live Studio every Friday, right? Gina is a very talented musician, but Gino is also a very talented musician. So I guess, with her absence to kind of fill our listeners, get your fill of other, musicians and other styles that are out there. Oh, I love this segment. Once again, big thank you to Gino. I have a feeling that we'll be seeing more of him here in the studio, maybe for that segment. Well, top of the hour, for the second hour, we do like to start things off with on the mic. This is a segment where we get to share the stories about the lives of Busan citizens. Let's see who we have for today.
내 손으로 직접 만든 모든 것들은 좀 소중하다는 느낌이 드는데요. 오늘 그 소중한 것들이 가득한 특별한 공간에 한번 찾아와 봤습니다. 네, 선생님 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 자기소개 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.
예, 저는 해운대 도자공방을 운영하고 있는 작가 신준식입니다.
와, 반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다.
선생님, 여기 지금 굉장히 많은 도예 작품들이 가득 있는데요. 어떻게 도예가의 길을 걷게 되셨는지 궁금합니다.
전 사실 저 도자기를 한 지 10년 됐습니다. 예, 그 전직은 골프 선수였습니다. 프로 골퍼였습니다. 예, 프로 골프를 하다가 이제 나이도 들고 체력도 떨어지고 해서 제가 나이 들어서 인생 이막을 어떻게 살 수 있을까 해서 검토하다가 생각한 게 도자공예를 생각했는데 다시 대학을 입학을 해서 이제 공부를 하고 지금 도자기 작가의 길을 걷고 있습니다.
네. 뒤늦게 대학교에 가셨던 거네요.
네, 52에 갔습니다.
와.
제가 사실은 골프만 한 게 아니고 제가 여러 가지 공부를 했습니다. 20대 때는 음악을 했고,
네.
30대 때는 영어 영문학을 해서 영어 교사로 있었고, 이제 40대 때는 체육을 해가지고 골프 선수를 했고, 지금 50대에 도자기를 해서 지금 제가 도자기 작가로 생활을 하고 있는 겁니다. 그러니까 다양한 일을 제가 어릴 때부터 다양한 일을 해보고 싶었어요.
여기 내가 만든 작품 중에서 유독 애착이 가는 작품도 있을까요?
물론 있습니다. 있는데 이제 비싸게 팔 수 있어서 애착이 가는 게 아니고 사실은 제가 가장 애착 가는 작품을 보여달라 그러시면 좀 보여드리기 어려운 게 왜 그러냐면 대학교 1학년 첫 시간에 만든 작품이거든요. 그러니까 그거를 일반 분들이 보시면 나도 저 정도 만들겠다. 당연히 그렇게 합니다. 제가 첫날 첫 시간에 만들었기 때문에. 근데 그게 가장 애착이 가서 저 구석에 제가 보관해 놓고 자그마한 그릇인데 제가 막걸리를 마신다든지 할 때 꺼내서 마시고 그렇게 하게 됩니다. 우리 아이들, 내 자식에 대한 모든 아이들이 다 애착이 가는 거 똑같이 모든 작품이 다 애착이 가죠. 가는 중에서 그 중에서도 잘 나온 작품이 있기는 있는데 못 나왔다 해서 애착이 가지 않고 그렇지는 않습니다.
네. 항상 여쭤보면 뭔가 애착이 간다는 건 나한테 특별한 추억과 시간이 깃든 것인 것 같아요. 그 도예 과정 안에서 내가 가장 행복함을 느끼는 과정이 있으신지 좀 궁금하거든요. 저는.
당연히 일종 성형 과정, 다시 말해서 만드는 과정입니다. 저희 작가뿐만 아니라 일반적으로 수업을 오는 분들도 그 과정을 겪게 되는데요. 다른 복잡한 세상사를 잊어버릴 수 있는 가장 고요한 시간이라고 할 수 있습니다. 그래서 성형 과정을 하게 되면 카드값도 잊어버리고 대출받은 갚아야 되는 것도 잊어버리고 그런 과정이 몰입이 됩니다. 그래서 오로지 그 흙과 나 자신과의 이야기를 할 수 있는 그런 과정. 조금 얘가 맞을지 모르겠지만 사랑하는 사람과 데이트를 하는 그런 과정 같은 느낌을 받을 수 있습니다.
모든 배경이 지워지고
네네, 그렇습니다.
몰입하게 되는.
그렇습니다.
개인 작업 활동뿐 아니라 수업도 진행을 하고 계신 거죠?
우리 도자기가 세계적으로 가장 오래된 역사를 갖고 있거든요. 일반 분들에게 도자기에 대한 걸 알려드리고 또 같이 작업을 하면서 즐거운 이야기도 나누고 우리나라 도자기에 대한 인식도 개선시키는 목적으로 또 한 가지는 이 도자기 작가로서 생활하기가 쉽지 않거든요.
모든 예술가들이 진짜.
예, 그렇습니다. 그래서 수업을 하면서 생활에도 도움이 되고 또 제가 생각했던 도자기 저변도 넓히는 그런 일거양득의 일로서 제가 수업도 충분히 진행하고 있습니다.
그런 일반 분들의 관심과 수요가 있어야 작가분들의 삶도 그렇고 이런 선순환 구조가 이루어지는 것 같아요. 그래서 다방면으로 또 노력해주고 계셨군요. 네. 그럼 마지막으로 청취자분들께 혹시 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
제가 도자기 작가로서 말씀드리고 싶은 것은 문화는 그 나라를 나타내는 얼굴인데 도자기뿐만이 아니고 다양한 문화에 대해서 관심을 가져주십사 부탁드리고 싶고 특히 도자기는 다른 분야에 비해서 우리나라 전통 예술입니다. 우리나라 대한민국을 대표할 수 있는 예술 중에 하나거든요. 여러분이 쓰시는 식기라든지 작품, 장식품이라든지 이런 것을 우리나라 도자기를 좀 많이 사용하셔서 사용하셔서 식사를 하시고 생활의 퀄리티를 좀 높여주시면 좋지 않을까라는 생각을 갖고 있습니다.
네. 오늘 인터뷰 너무 감사하고요. 네, 선생님의 행복한 작품 생활과 그 다음 10년을 또 응원 드리겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 고맙습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. Our reporter Jisoo speaking with today's special guest, Mr. Shin Jun-sik, who is a potter. 네, 도예 작가라고 하죠. I've never actually tried my hand at pottery. I know this is something that a lot of people do partake in. At least once. I know they do it for just like the fun of it, to just kind of get the experience out of the way. You know, I tried my hand at pottery. It's not for me. I've heard a lot of people actually say that. But it seems like Mr. Shin Jun-sik have dedicated, a lot the past 10 years to ceramic work and pottery, so much so that he's planning to hold a very important exhibition on the 16th, next month. Yeah, I think it goes to show you it doesn't matter at what age or just what stage in your life that you want to pick up on not just a hobby, but maybe like turning a hobby into a passion and maybe passion into something more. There you go. Prime example right there. 우리 Mr. Shin Jun-sik used to be a former professional golfer, but at the age of 52 enrolled in a ceramics class. And then this opened up this new chapter in his life, right? And our reporter Jisoo gave a pretty difficult question that this is for all artists out there, whatever, your craft might be. Whenever somebody asks you, like, what's your favorite this? Whether it be your favorite song, whether it be your favorite painting, or whether it be your favorite, like something, like, what's your favorite? And obviously, spoken like a true artist, he couldn't, it was hard for him to pick a piece that he considered his favorite. But he did mention if he had to pick one of his more cherished pieces he made during his first year of university, it's basically a cup. He said it's not the most expensive thing in his collection, but he enjoys drinking makgeolli out of it. And, if you partake in drinking makgeolli often and you often use that cup, I guess it takes him down like memory lane just a little bit, right? Brings him like the fond memories that he had when he first started his life into ceramics. So with his, the sentence or like the advice that he wants to leave with our listeners, he advises, especially the young generation, don't be too afraid of what the future will bring you. Do something that you enjoy. And he also said something that I know a lot of you are taking to heart right now. Travel a lot, right? Go on your travels, go on trips, enjoy what's out there. And 우리 Mr. Shin Jun-sik님, this is something that, I do want to, take and really live it, right? Going on more travels, enjoying. I do enjoy what I do actually, but that second part, going on travels, this is something that I feel like I might regret towards the, I don't want to be too doom and gloom towards the end of my life, but later when I get old, yeah, I want to be able to say I traveled. I traveled a lot, and I did take Mr. Shin Jun-sik's advice to heart. So maybe for our younger generation listeners, if you do have the time, if you find yourself that maybe I do need to kind of get out there. I do need to see what the future holds for me. I do need to, just enjoy my life in general. Yeah. Folks, travel. Don't be too afraid what the future might bring you. Words that we could all live by. Thank you so much to Mr. Shin Jun-sik and to our reporter Jisoo. That was today's On the Mic. All right, listeners, I asked some of you today if you care to share, maybe suggest to me, if I had to pick an English name, what do you think would work for me, right? We had a couple suggestions that came in already, right? We had a bunch of names that starts with M that we got from Toki님. Mario, Marco, Marcus even. Once again, Marvin at the top of my list right now. Names that I could take on. I also had a suggestion came in that I should stick with, my Korean name. And yeah, Minsu, it's not the hardest Korean name, I feel like. Maybe if I want to partake in more, getting together with, I don't know, people that I meet abroad, just English speakers that maybe, I guess, when it comes to just Korean names, it might be a little hard to pick up. But yeah, Minsu, I have no trouble with Minsu. Just, at school, with my friends. So I don't know. I guess sticking with Minsu might be also the way to go. But I do want to hear your suggestions in terms of, English name that I could pick up, right? I could bestow upon myself. Still waiting for those suggestions, all right? I got a couple that came in earlier that I'm going to share with you. But let's take a quick song break. This is 세월이 가면 by Kion.
그대 나를 위해 웃음을 보여도 허탈한 표정 감출 순 없어 힘없이 뒤돌아선 그대의 모습을 흐린 눈으로 바라만 보네 나는 알고 있어요 우리의 사랑은 이것이 마지막이라는 것을 서로가 원한다 해도 영원할 순 없어요 저 흘러가는 시간 앞에서는
And that was Kiyeon with 세월이 가면. I guess that's a remake of an older song, if I'm correct, right? Once again, from one of my favorite just TV shows. I know for a lot of people, 인생 드라마라고 하죠. 응팔. You know that one, right? The time is now 7:16 in the studio, 7:17 to be exact. Welcome to the second hour of Inside of Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Let's see what the weather is looking like as well with the traffic here in Busan City. Currently, our city is averaging 22 degrees. Nice and cool outside. Maybe for some a little chilly. When it comes to the weather tomorrow, in the morning, expecting morning low of 19 and an afternoon high of 26. So this weekend, to help you out, if you're planning on going outside, what you can expect, mostly cloudy and cool weather all weekend. However, do be cautious of the temperature difference. It's going to be over 10 degrees actually. So the coldest and the warmest that it'll get in a day, more than 10-degree gap in between those two numbers. So careful not to catch a cold. 이번 주말에는 구름이 많고 선선한 날씨가 이어지겠습니다. 대신 일교차가 10도 이상으로 벌어지니 감기에 주의하시기 바랍니다. When it comes to our traffic, we have congestion on 번영로 from 구서 interchange going towards 금정 police station. There's also congestion on 가야대로 from 서면 롯데 department store going towards 서면 junction. Slow-moving traffic on 낙동남로 from 성산 three-way intersection going towards 강서 police station. Slow-moving traffic on 해운대로 as well from 3호 가든 junction going towards Olympic junction. Everybody, drive safe. It's Friday. I know you all want to get to wherever it is that you're going. Most of you probably home or 불금이잖아요. Maybe go to a dinner, going to a party and whatnot. But you want to get there first, safe and sound. That is the main point. All right, so to these names. So in the first half of our show, I wanted to hear from you suggestions of an English name that I can take on. So the name that I used previously here at BFM as an English name, which I guess, to let you know, I did not choose this name. It was actually given by somebody else. And they suggested Daniel. And for a good, I want to say, a year and a half, 2 years here at BFM, I did use the name Daniel. And I was comfortable with it a little bit, but the whole time it didn't really feel like me, right? So, talking today about a lot of companies that have taken on this horizontal culture, right? This flat organizational culture that everybody we shouldn't have like titles because it makes everybody uncomfortable, uneasy. Give everybody English names at a Korean company here in Korea. And that kind of does away with any of the awkwardness or like that, because they're higher up than me, I always have to be very careful around them. So to make things a little comfortable at the office, a lot of companies have decided to take on English names. So I want suggestions. What kind of English name or what English name should I take on? We have Haley님 saying, 민수는 Daniel. 혜리님, 그쵸. 저는 BFM에서 영어 이름 하면 데니얼 아니야? 라고 사람들이 많이 하는데 I just wanted to do away with that. It wasn't my choice. You also suggested 저는 Joshua로 지었어요. How's that? Joshua. Josh for short, right? You don't get too much Joshuas. Well, like Koreans, anyway, that have taken on the name Joshua. Yeah, I don't know too many Joshuas amongst my circle of family and friends. Okay, that might work because I don't know a lot. I'm basing my decision to take on the name or not. It depends on if I know any Joshuas around me, which I currently don't. And then I've offended a Josh or Joshua that I might know that I'm not remembering right now. All to that maybe Josh or Joshua. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to forget you. 그냥 지금 생각하려고 하니까 바로 생각이 안 뜨네요. We had a message earlier that came in from 우리 임세원님 on our Kakao Talk saying, Hi, Min-Soo. My younger sister decided to go back to her Korean name in her teenage years. She chose that because she said that she felt like that was her identity and not Jeanette. I think Korean employees, including yourself, should choose to be identified by the name that, best speaks to who you are. Having said that, some people should not choose some of the names, especially with the irregular spellings. Please. Why do I feel like I know what you mean? More messages coming up, but we do have to get to our second hour special segment, excuse me. All right, folks, it's Friday. That means it is time for the longest running segment here on Inside of Busan. And I feel like maybe amongst all the shows here at BFM, time for Open Studio, where we get to invite a special guest to share about their life here in Busan. Joining us in the studio today, we have Miss Valerie Mabelle. Valerie, say hi to our listeners.
Hello.
Hi. Valerie, say hello and introduce yourself.
Okay, I will. Hello, everyone. My name is Valerie Mabelle, and I'm a freelancer content creator. Yeah.
Freelancer and content creator, that title. I'm so jealous of people when they introduce themselves like that. It just sounds so cool and so relevant these days, right? Being
Exactly.
a content creator. Oh.
Right.
So our writer, Steve, in our script, wanted me to introduce you to our listeners as somebody who's really passionate in working with creatives, especially in the movie industry, and you are really enjoying your new unique experience here in Busan. Does that describe you pretty well, Valerie?
I think so.
Nice. Oh, I should have started off with that then.
Okay.
So, Valerie, thank you so much for coming and being a part of our segment today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's get to, I just want to talk about your work first, right? So as a content creator, what inspired you to kind of like go in this direction? I guess, what was the process, in becoming a content creator?
Oh, so actually, it's quite new for me as a content creator.
Oh, okay.
Because before then, I was more focusing on movies or film or like producing and acting.
Oh.
And then these days, I don't know, it's just like, it just started to come out on me. And I happens to combine, shoot any random videos and then edit it and then create one sequence, very short one, and then just make it beautiful. Because last year I've been traveling quite a lot, just around Korea.
Okay.
And then I just took them and then make a very short reels, if you ever heard
Yes.
Instagram reels, right? So I made those, and then one of my friend, they just happened to see my profile, and then she knows someone that she want to introduce me to someone that needs a content creator for their own profile, as in clothing brand. And then when they introduces me, I just happens to oh yeah, let's do it. I'll help you. I feel like it's gonna be really fun. I love editing. I love create something that's just beautiful and then interest people, promote those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. So we gave your title as a content creator, but you just now kind of explained in terms of what kind of content. So reels that you would see on social media platforms.
Right.
That I'm pretty sure most of our listeners. It's really hard to not say you've seen a reel these days. It's pretty much everywhere. A lot of the streaming apps that people
Right.
use, a lot of social media apps, they always have video content, and that's specifically what you are partaking in, right? Making not long videos, or
Yeah,
they're
just
pretty short.
50 seconds,
Okay.
20 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. How did you? I guess a lot of people start from somewhere with the reels. What got you, I guess, interested in just editing videos, and what led to that point in your life?
Because I was film student. So
let's even go before that. How did you? So Steve, our writer Steve, wanted to focus a bit on your film studies as well. So how did
Right.
you decide to go down that route?
okay, so 2017 I came to Korea just for traveling.
Okay.
And then I always wanted to learn movie industry, film, or entertainment, those stuff. And then when I came to Korea, I just in love with the city so much. Like it's just really beautiful. It's really clean and safe.
Where was the first place you had
Seoul.
visited? Ah,
Yeah.
okay. That's
So I went to
okay.
Seoul, and then when I came back, like someone I know, their daughter, like one of their daughter, graduated in this university in Busan, and they told me that they have art majors.
Yeah.
And one of them is film major.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, oh, I'm so interested. And then I tried to look it up. How is this program gonna work? And then what's in Busan? So I'm just like look it up, and then it gives me more interested in coming here.
Sure.
So, and I did. But I did learn Korean first.
Okay.
Back in Jakarta for like 6 months intensive because like all of my program is all in Korean. So it's a mixed feelings actually, but it's really great to learn something new and learn new languages is quite a skill. Yeah.
So, Busan wasn't like the first place you had visited or made you fall in love with Korea.
Right.
Tell me about like those first couple of maybe weeks or months, once you have decided to attend school, do your film studies here in Busan. How was adjusting to life here in Busan and in Korea? Just in general.
It was really hard though. Like my first 2 months, or like even my first year in Korea, is really hard for me to actually hang out with Koreans, or it's just for me to adapt with the cultures. Everything is just really fast in here, and even when they were talking, and I was just. I don't know. It's just like, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So, so even for me to like connect it with my classmates, they'll be like, "Oh, like, you're foreigners. Where you from?" And I was like, "Yes." I cannot connect with that like at first because like it was really fast, and I'm trying to like. I tried to figure out what they're talking about.
Sure.
So it was really quick and fast. So
Yeah. It's the language barrier, I think.
I think
is
the language barrier
is the biggest wall for a lot of people. But once, I'm sure, but you studying in Jakarta, in your home country before coming here, I'm sure that helped a lot, though, rather than coming here and not knowing the language at all.
Exactly. Just like at least I can listen to them, but I don't know how to respond to that. So I was like really nervous at first. Even like my first year, I'm like really nervous talking with the professor. They're like talking quite fast. But like once they know that I'm foreigners, they quite slow down a little bit, but still. Because like I cannot negotiate with that. Like that's what I jumped into.
Sure.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
And I keep learning and I keep develop my Korean. So I think like my second year, my third year is quite okay. But yeah, and then I survived.
Yeah, you're here, right? That's the most important thing, that you survived. How was the transition between, so you're from Indonesia, right? And is there a big difference in terms of culture and just, way of life in Indonesia and here in Korea that when you kind of, other than language, that you maybe found difficult, or maybe something that, a lot of people when they go traveling, like what was like the biggest culture shock for you? Is there anything like that when you came here to Korea?
Well, obviously, when I decided to living alone in Korea, like I have no one. All I have is my friends.
Was this your first time kind of being like going by yourself, independent?
I did just like traveling, but like never live alone in other countries.
That must have been scary, no?
It was scary. I was 19.
Oh.
and then when I came here and then I live alone, all I have is my friends, so I just rely on them, and then we all just stick together. And then but we all have a different major when we came to the university, so everything we have to do it very independently, so that was quite hard. And then but what I love the most in Korea is their public transportation. It's like very disciplined and everything is on time, so all you need is like you have like a short time for you to prepare
Sure.
for everything.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the biggest culture difference, but it was the best one, I think.
Oh yeah. Once you get used to that, like I feel like everything else kind of like, fits like perfectly, and just, every day, especially people in your line of work that do have to move around a lot with shooting and
Right.
everything, being able to depend on transportation, being on time, getting you where you need to go.
Right.
That's sometimes crucial for a lot of people in the line of work that they're in, right? So I'm glad you're taking advantage of the very like on time public transportation system that we have
Right.
here in Korea.
Right.
Nice. So here in the studio for today's open studio, we have Valerie, who is a freelance content creator. Let's get back to the work that you do. Our writer, Steve, filled us in that you're currently a content creator for a local clothing brand.
Right.
Okay. Tell us, because you mentioned the work that you did before, just kind of, making these short videos, to post on social media. What is your work entail as a content creator for a clothing brand?
So for now, I'm just focusing on one local brand. It's a jegging, if you ever heard.
Jegging?
Yes, so it's jeans legging.
So denim leggings.
Right.
Okay. All right. I have seen them around.
Right.
But I've never heard it referred to as jeggings.
Yeah, I think like we have.
It works jeans and leggings, right?
Right, it's jeans and leggings.
Uh-huh.
And then this one is like very good quality. And then like the targets is for mostly women because like it's leggings.
Sure.
And
what's wrong with guys wearing leggings? No.
I'm not being.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But it's more of that.
Yeah.
And then these days, I don't know about these days or like way before then, but I think like I've seen a lot of people wearing sporty or like exercise clothes.
Yeah.
But like they
very
make
trendy
it like
these days.
right, they make it like very fashionable.
Yeah.
But during that time, while making content is like my targets most likely Pilates instructor or
Sure.
yoga instructor
Sure.
or like gym, people who go to gym. But I also combine it with fashion, which is like mix and match, like daily, or just like, just to promote more about this jeans legging, denim leggings.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much what I'm doing.
It sounds like, other like the aspect of maybe the company that you're working with, with the, I guess, the design and whatnot, but rather focusing on target audiences of the products that you're, trying to promote.
Right.
So being always kind of like in the know of what's trending these days, what people like, what people don't like, I
Right.
feel like that's something that you have to hone in on and always be in the know of to be able to do your work. So, I mean, is that an easy thing to do to continue to keep up with the trends? I feel like, so for me, I feel like I'm kind of like speaking as like the super old guy, but it's hard to keep up with all the trends and everything these days.
Very much.
Yeah.
Actually.
So like, how do you do it?
I don't know. Like I have to, keep on watching videos.
Sure.
Like make sure like what changed. So just like keep updating, I think, but not really at the same time. Because like even though it's fashion, and if it's like we're not really like looking for trending. We're more like, how is it functional? So I think like casual outfit, most likely people will keep, like it's not gonna stop. So like I don't need to like stressing out about that that much. And then like I think I don't need to stress about anything on doing that.
Sure.
So but at the same time, if there's any like good trend or like new trend, I can just like follow a little bit. Like, that inspires me to like create the content more a little bit like that.
Sure.
So people will see on like, oh, it's nice looking jeans.
Yeah. See, it sounds like keeping up with the trends and being in the know of what's going on, it's a regular part of your daily life. Whereas people like me, I have to put in the effort to keep up with what's trending these days. That's why I really enjoy my time with, because I teach college students during the day. So the conversations, the small talk that I have, like sometimes would ask them, so what's new, right? Is there
That is actually true too.
is there anything that because college students, they're the best at what's
Right.
to know what's trendy and what's not, right? So I was like, hey, I heard like this is like super popular these days, and they were like, oh, Minsu, come on, that was like 2 weeks ago, right? That was 2 weeks ago. Come on, get with it. So I always have to double check with them before I even talk about it on air. They're kind of like my monitor. Like they kind of filter things that, okay, it's okay to talk about this because it's in the know. Everybody knows about this, but don't talk about this because it's old news.
Right. I think one of the reason why people in anywhere, not just this company, in anywhere, they need a younger people. They need a younger point of view.
Yeah.
Because like they want to keep on track on whatever like the business going, right?
Sure.
So I think that is really a good idea.
Yeah, and that's something I think a lot of companies can't deny. I'm not saying then if the older generation, they're useless because they're not. They bring bring so much to the table, but things like being very tech savvy, being able to kind of like adopt early types of technology, right, and making that a part of their daily life, it's a bit easier for younger people because it's easier for them to adapt. Whereas, if you've been kind of doing one thing for so long, you get so used to it that when something new comes to you, it's kind of hard to change your ways, right? So I feel like those kinds of factors do play in.
Right.
Yeah. And Valerie, thank you so much for sharing. It's good to see, what like an MZer or like a younger generation, especially content creator who has to be in the know, like what the thinking process is like.
Correct.
Yeah. Valerie, as we slowly start to wrap up our interview with you, because your major was film,
Right.
right? Do you ever think about kind of like your future back in that realm, or do you think you're going to continue to go down this route as like, I guess, for people that make film, they're also content creators.
Right. So my goal has always been acting. So,
Ooh,
right.
Okay.
I happens to like acting a lot. So like I grew up doing theater academy. Quite a long time. Probably like around 4 years around that.
If you came maybe, I don't know, like a week earlier, I had another host on our program. Her name is Laura. It was her last week, but she graduated. She studied acting, right? And she would bring it up sometimes. I feel like if she was here, like you guys would click so much, right?
I really wish I did, yeah.
Yeah, if you were only here a week earlier, but destiny, I guess. You can't talk about it.
Well, maybe I'll meet her someday.
Maybe,
next time.
right? So is acting something that you would want to like pursue later on?
Right. Like I do like acting, so I might probably gonna focusing on that. But at the same time, I do want to work in a company, as in like production company. So like also in movie industry. But I do also like create my own movie.
Sure.
So as a director,
Yeah.
I do love that too. Probably like in those area. But
I mean, you're in that realm already, so I feel like if you want to cross over into like another position or like another kind of like role, the transition will be quite easy because you're already doing stuff related to that anyway.
Right. That's correct, yeah.
So you never know. We might see Valerie on our screens, right?
Hopefully.
Maybe in the
Fingers
movie
crossed.
theaters, right? Fingers crossed. Valerie, and real quick, because these days a lot of people are traveling a lot, and you mentioned you being from Jakarta in Indonesia, right? If you had to maybe introduce, I don't know, if somebody's going to travel to Indonesia, what's one thing they cannot miss out on during their travels there?
Obviously, people know Indonesia as Bali.
Yes.
So I think like Bali is a good start for whoever, like for those who never been to Indonesia before. So Bali is the best choice for start. But like there's so like Indonesia has more than 18,000 islands.
Yeah.
So if you go towards the east, there's like a lot of islands, big islands as well. It's like such a beautiful islands and very clear water.
Oh yeah.
Quite like look like a virgin beach. So if you go towards like, I think it was called Flores around that area. It's really beautiful.
Okay, so a lot of the like smaller islands that people could check out in Indonesia. I've
Yeah.
only seen it in pictures, but like you said, water is there, crystal clear.
Yeah, exactly. Crystal clear.
I can only imagine. Because I just came
Or
back.
you can actually go.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently came back from a vacation.
Oh.
Like I have to be very careful to ask for my next vacation.
And Indonesia is quite cheap for traveling as well, so I quite recommend it.
All right. Well, Indonesia has gone up a couple spaces on the places I have to visit, right?
Yep.
All right, Valerie, thank you so much just for coming by and just sharing a little bit of your life
Thank
with
you
us here in the
too.
studio. Best of luck to you with
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Especially with acting. Thank you so much. That will be it for today's Open Studio. Let's take a quick song break. This is 나을 with 한여름 밤의 꿈.
별들도 잠이 드는 이 밤 혼자서 바라보는 바다 외로운 춤을 추는 파도 이렇게 서성이고 있네 오늘 밤에 나의 곁으로 돌아와주오 그대 귀에 익은 낮은 목소리 다시 들려주오 내 모습을 내 마음은 잊었나 차가운 바람이 내 사랑을 지웠나 모든 게 예전 그대로 달라질 이유 없는데 내가 그대를 그리는 것은 한여름 밤의 꿈 모든 게 예전 그대로 이고 달라질 이유 없는데 내가 그대를 그리는 것은 한여름 밤의 꿈 한여름
안녕하세요. 고품격 영어 방송 Inside Out 부산의 품격 있는 Writer Steve입니다. Winners of Inside Out Busan listeners participation segment will get full course meal voucher from Golden Lizzie, a gourmet restaurant in 거제동 and 연산동, where you can taste cuisine from Michelin Guide featured Chef Kim. 미슐랭 셰프의 파인 레스토랑 골든 리지에서 10만 원 외식 상품권. A place to entertain your brain and eyes. Museum of Illusions. 당신의 눈과 뇌를 즐겁게 하는 곳. Museum of Illusion 부산 착시미술관 입장권. 언제나 맛있는 커피를 신선하게 만드는 양산에 위치한 인투 로스터리. Coffee voucher and a pack of fresh coffee whole beans sponsored by Into Roastery in Yangsan. A delicious brunch for two from Gorilla Brewing Busan, Gwangan branch, the leader of Korean handmade beer culture. 수제 맥주 전문점 고릴라 브루잉 부산에서 제공하는 식사권. We prepare admission tickets for the Busan X the Sky Top Floor Observatory, which is located at LCT in Haeundae, the highest place in Busan. 부산 대표 랜드마크 해운대 LCT에 위치한 하늘 위의 바다. 부산 X the Sky 전망대 입장권을 선물로 드립니다. IOB와 함께하는 품격 있는 선물. It's all yours, listeners.
All right, folks, we're going to slowly start to wrap things up for our show with our last segment, quote unquote. And on Fridays, 우리 스티브, 우리 남동아 작가님이, 남동아 작가가 하겠습니다. Hi, Steve.
Hello, Minsu.
How are you doing today?
Lovely Friday, being with Minsu.
왜 이렇게 영혼이 없어요?
Lovely Friday, being with Minsu.
됐거든요. All right, Steve. So you'll be heading every Fridays, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
What do you have for us today?
So today's quote I've brought from the book The Tools of Titans.
Ooh.
So it's written by Tim Ferriss. This book is an engaging collection of insights and advice from a wide range of successful individuals, distilled from Tim Ferriss' well-known podcast. It offers a treasure trove of practical wisdom for personal growth and achievement.
네.
그래서 오늘의 quote는 A person who can't spare 10 minutes for a task will eventually be unable to complete that task even if they spend 10 hours on it.
Oh, this quote speaks to me.
Me too.
Okay. Explain.
So not everyone, but haven't we all encountered people around us who say, I don't have time.
All the time.
For example, there are things like exercising, studying, assignments, work, and so on that need to be done. But when you ask if they've done them, they say, I haven't had time until now. I'm certainly one of those people too, and I'm continuously trying not to be. Just like the quote I've brought today, someone who can't allocate even 10 minutes for something they need to do will eventually not be able to complete it, no matter how many hours they spend on it.
Yeah.
I think it's good for all of us to ask ourselves once, is it really, really, really because we didn't have time? Or did we have enough time, but we were just lazy and didn't do it? It would be good to engage in some honest self-reflection.
Yeah, I feel like this quote works with another quote that we brought earlier. If you don't have 10 minutes to kind of meditate or just spend to yourself in a day, then you need to spend an hour for yourself.
Yeah.
So, but with this quote, it kind of, I guess, with the quote that I also mentioned, kind of tells yourself that it's okay to take some time on certain things, right? You do have time if you prioritize.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
So for most of the people, they say, I don't have time. I think, personally, I think it's lazy. 네, 그래서 그냥 일단 먼저 시작해보면 좋을 것 같아요.
네.
Let's just start it.
Yeah.
네, 일단 한국말로는 시작이 반이다라는 말이 있잖아요.
그쵸.
네.
먼저 시작해 보면 좋을 것 같습니다.
네. Oh, okay. So this is something to maybe take on because I know we have Chuseok next week.
That's right.
And a lot of people are trying to wrap up as much work as they can, right? But and then you tell yourself, 시간이 없다, right? I can't do this, right? There's no way I can do this. But a lot of times, it's even before they start something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so maybe you could take this quote to heart as you get ready for the Chuseok holidays and, kind of a lot of work has piling on your plate before the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a person who can't spare 10 minutes for a task will eventually be unable to complete that task even if they spend 10 hours on it.
Exactly.
A lot of times, even by starting that task,
Yes.
you're half done. So says Steve.
Yes.
Steve, because you say it, you make everything sound easy, where sometimes it's not. But I think we could take the comfort in you saying that.
감사합니다.
Right? 네. Steve, thank you so much. Steve, real quick together, I'm going to tell you some of these other names that people are saying.
Okay.
Mickey Minsu says 가보자고님. And then Chunjo 선생님 saying Max Punch Minsu.
Ooh.
And then Chunjo 선생님 says Laura Minsu, but put that together, 가보자고님 Maura.
Ooh.
Don't say ooh.
Maura.
Those don't work. How is it going to stick?
Oh my goodness. Maura.
Right?
Maura.
Oh, 근데 우리 Haley님 says this quote speaks to me too.
Oh,
Steve,
그런가요?
you've spoken to somebody other than me. with your quote today.
감사합니다.
인수님 on our KakaoTalk said, how about Michael?
Michael?
It's kind of too bland.
좋은데요. 네.
좋은데, all Michaels
네.
out there, I'm sure your name is
좋은데.
awesome,
네.
but I don't know, for me.
Yeah.
So, I like Marvin that came up.
Oh, Marvin was nice.
네. 그런데 결론적으로는요, I think sticking to your original name is probably the best way to go.
아, 맞아요.
So
진짜로.
says Toyoki Nakamura-님 on our KakaoTalk,
Yeah.
right? Who today will be our gift receiver. Steve has selected you to receive today's gift. 네, 축하합니다. I think it just, although maybe having an English name, is nice, but don't forget your identity and where you originally come from.
Yes.
Right? Steve, if that's your real name.
No. No. My name is Donghua.
동아, thank you so much for today. And that'll do it for our show. Inside of Busan was written by Im Soo-jin and
동화.
네, 좋았어요. Written and produced by me, Minsu. Thank you so much. Our last track for the day is by Pink Sweats, Honesty. Folks, have a good weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday.
Game of patience. She said, what if I dive deep? Will you come in after me? Would you share your flaws with me? Never know. I told her thinking is I'm wrong. Love will happen when it wants. I know it hurts sometimes, but don't let it go. 'Cause I want you. I want you. I want you. 'Cause I want you. I want you. She said, what if I tell you all the things I've done? Would you run away from me? I told her, baby, we all got bags full of shit that we don't want.